Hello and welcome to the Modern Mystic Radio Show on A1R Psychic Radio Network, the world's #1 psychic radio network, and Moonstruck TV. Before I go into my topic for today, I just want to remind you of how you can get hold of me. So you can contact me through my website, which is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can get me on Facebook under Mystic Saira and Modern Mystic. Just to let you know, I am moving out of the Hampshire area and moving into Shropshire. So if you are listening from the UK and you're coming from Shropshire, please do feel free to say hi anytime. So all of my details will be on my website if you do want to get hold of me, if you do want to book your own private reading. So I will be taking 2 callers today. So I'm really looking forward to getting involved with your readings. Again, you can ask pretty much anything. I'll give you that option, but we try and stick to one question. Okay, so what I want to talk about today are spirit guides and how to work with spirit guides. So I have, as a working psychic, I have a variety of different spirit guides working with me. My first ever experience with them was when I was about 7 years old, and I used to wake up every night and see spirit faces floating towards me, one after the other, and it became a bit of a problem. You know, at first it was only when my eyes were shut. Then it became any sort of like darkened bit in the room, and then it was just all the time. You know, it didn't matter. I could just see these faces with eyes shut, open, whatever. And it started to become a real problem for me because it was keeping me up at night. I couldn't really explain to my parents what was going on because all I could really put into words was that, I was having bad dreams even though I was awake. So they didn't really know how to help me because I didn't really have, a good idea of what I was going through. And so this carried on for a good few months. Until one evening or one night in the middle of the night, I became aware of 2 people talking about me. One was a man, one was a woman. And I think, if I remember rightly, the woman was, she looked like she was in like this white uniform, like a nurse's uniform. And the man he was quite old, I suppose. He looked a little bit like Merlin. I don't know whether he was, but they were having this conversation about me, saying that they needed to do something about this, that I wasn't able to cope with what was happening. And they said to me, right, we're just going to take these things away. And what they did, and it was simple and it was easy, and this is the way it was shown to me, is they grabbed hold of these faces as they were floating towards me, put them in a clear bag, tied up the top, and then threw them away, and that was it. I never had them again. Now, as I've been developing, so from 17 onwards, I've been working as a psychic. I've become aware of other guides that work with me. So, number 1, we do have a primary guide. Okay, and in my case, I felt like I had 2. So this guide that's with you is with you from day 1 right up until the end. Okay, so they will sort of like phase in and phase out, but fundamentally they're there to oversee your development and help, as and when required. Now, we also have other guides that step in as we grow and as we develop and as the needs change, as I found out. So I will have my primary guide or guides. And then I will also have other people that are specialists in certain areas. So it may very well be I work with a different guide when I'm looking at a medical issue, for instance. I'll be given information that I know very little about, and I'll obviously pass that over to the person involved. Or perhaps it's a spiritual thing or a relationship thing. So I'll work with different guides for different subjects. But fundamentally, I do have a primary guide overseeing me. And this is what you two will also have. So you will be assigned a primary guide. And depending on what you do within your life, whether you work with other people, whether perhaps you're a counsellor or you work in the medical profession or anything that involves, maybe you're a healer, you will work with other guides as well. So not everybody is aware that we have spirit guides, or we're even communicating with spirit guides, because the method that they tend to use is so subtle. It comes through the form of our own thoughts. So unless you're kind of highly trained and can notice those subtle differences, it can be very difficult to distinguish. So perhaps you're a budding psychic and you'd like to get in contact with your spirit guides. Now, there is a way of doing that. Well, that's another thing I was going to say. Quite often, our primary guide will have a past life connection as well. So from my understanding, when we're born, we incarnate as a group of souls. And you'll come across some of these members of your soul family throughout your life, some being best friends, some being important contacts, some being members of your family. Plus, you will also have members of this soul group joining you and working with you on a spiritual level. So not all of that soul group will incarnate. Some of them will step in as spirit guides. And in turn, next life, you might very well be stepping in that category as well. So looking at connecting with your guides. So I'm going to talk you through a quick meditation in terms of how to connect. So if this is something you are looking to do, or you're interested in finding out, maybe you want to know who your guide is and what ways you can work with them, I'll just almost like set you up with a meditation that you can obviously write down or record yourself and listen to and work with. So it's really simple. I'm not going to take you through the whole thing because that would take too long. So what I would start with is getting you to close your eyes, relax, take a few deep breaths, and then focus on a tube of light that descends over you, goes deep into the earth and extends up as far as you can imagine. And then with each breath, feel yourself floating up inside this tube. And as you do, you travel faster and faster. And that light, that bright white light, gets brighter and brighter. When you feel that you can't go any faster or any higher, just imagine everything starts to slow down and you're hovering within this tube of white light. When that light starts to dissipate, you find yourself within a small, simple white room. And in the center of this room are two chairs facing opposite each other. You take a seat on one of those chairs, and then you wait, you request for your spirit guide to join you on the other chair facing opposite you. Okay, so they may walk in, they may materialize, you might get bits of them, or a sense, and at this point, if you're not seeing anything, ask a few questions or see what you intuitively feel. Are they male, female? What kind of era are they from, etc., etc. Have your conversation. See how you can work together. It's another way that you can connect in a better or stronger way. And when you're done, travel back down that tube of light, back into your body, back into the room, and then open your eyes. So it's a simple, really, really simple meditation. So it doesn't involve journeying and going through here, there, and everywhere, up a mountain, etc., etc. You're just going up that tube of light into a plain white room. Now, You can, like I said, you can record it, you can write it down, you can just memorize it. But I do have that meditation on my website if you would like to buy that from me. It's on MP3. So go through onto online courses and meditations. Alternatively, this is another area that I do like to work in. I can actually perform that for you, tune into that, and do either a telephone reading or recorded reading for you and tune into your spirit guide. So I can do a spirit guide reading if you want me to. Okay, so I am going to go on to my first caller, who is Erin in Magnolia, Ohio. Hi, Erin. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you? Thank you very much for. I can. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming onto my show. Do you have a question for me tonight?
I do have a question. I'm trying desperately to find someone, and I need your help to find them.
Okay. Right. So who is it that you're trying to find? And if you could give me a small sort of breakdown of where you're at with it.
I have a general idea. This person is not with us any longer. I don't know that 100%, but I feel that in my bones. And I'm just trying to find her so that her daughter and her family, we can have peace.
So are you saying that you're trying to find her body, perhaps?
Correct.
Right, okay. So let's just see. I get water with her. There's water and there's a car as well. Let's see what we've got here. Because my feeling here with this is that your intuition is, I feel like your intuition is really strong. Has she appeared to you in any dreams at all? Have you tried that? Have you tried connecting through that way? Hello? Okay, so we're just going to wait for her to come back. Right, so like I said, if you would like me to do a spirit guide reading, that's one of the things that I can do. So we're just waiting for our caller to hopefully come back. We've lost her for a second. Okay, what I also want to talk about here is learning to distinguish what is your spirit guides messages and what are your own. Now, like I said, this can sometimes be very difficult. When you're working as a psychic, you develop a bit of a knack for it. Okay, you understand that what comes through is mainly from them. Sometimes they will talk through me as well. Okay, which is a little bit, I tend to find my energy changes and the way that I talk changes as well. It's not a negative thing, it just is a very unusual thing. So if you would like to build up that kind of communication, like I said, if you are developing as a psychic, another useful mechanism is to build up a language and to build up a code of some kind. So perhaps, it's almost as though if you could put themes into place or messages, like for instance, if you wanted to know if there was some sort of celebration coming up around somebody, you could get your spirit guides to show you a birthday cake. So it's like building a pictorial reference with your guide, and maybe this is something you can do within meditation to actually promote that communication, make it easier for your guides to get that through. Okay, I am going to go on to another call, and we have Priya in London. Hi Priya, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, thank you so much.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's lovely to have you on the show. Is there anything you would like me to look at for you?
Yes, please. I'm just at the moment going through a huge transition. My father died last year and my granny died this year, and a relationship ended and my client work just changed, and pretty much every single area of my life that could fall apart and break down has done so. And I'm just really looking for some sort of guidance and support on the next step, specifically around work, because I've, in a place where my client work's changing and I just don't really know how to manifest resources. And I've got some work projects sort of on the go, but at the moment, nothing's really generating income. So I just feel like, kind of help.
Right. Okay, let's have a look and see what we do have for you. There is a feeling of a change of direction when it comes to work. I also feel that you need to be, and this can be really difficult because I kind of get with your energy, this sort of drive and motivation, and you're always on to the next sort of thing. Does that make sense? And now it feels
absolutely
unusual. It does. You're a complete fish out of water here because you've been left with, if you like, this space. Okay, or you've been given this space. And I know what I'm like when I'm being given space. I think, right, okay, well, I need to do something. I need to do something now. And the idea, the objective is to just allow. Okay, my feeling with everything that's kind of happened with you, I feel like you're about to take a major leap forwards. It's like a major jump, but you're still processing a lot of what has occurred. And I feel, my feeling here is that work is going to kick in the moment that you are actually ready. Okay. So my feeling is that it's like everything's changed with you, your perspective, what kind of drives you, what's important to you, your priorities. Absolutely everything has been sort of brought up. It's like you have been sort of put in the spotlight here and under the microscope. And I feel like this is a process that is absolutely necessary for you to make the leaps forward that you want to. I do feel when I'm tuning into your energy, I really feel like I have got your father with you. He seems to be, how can I put it, very, he's like he's trying to help in every way, shape and form. I get all this energy coming from him, as well as this great feeling of pride, okay, when I'm tuning into his energy. He's very proud of what you are, what you've achieved. I feel with him that he wishes that he had said that a bit more, to you. But how can I put it? I think really what he's trying to do is actually push. It's like he's trying to push your life forwards. Okay, he's encouraging you to go forwards, knowing that he's still very close with you. I keep on feeling, I'm getting like you will have, if I don't know if you have already, but you will have dreams where he appears for you. Yeah. Has that happened to you yet?
No, not yet. I mean, there's been a couple of times I do feel deeply connected to him at times. And, like everything you said is exactly spot on. I mean, that really resonates deeply with me. I guess, like at a very practical level, because I now don't know where more income's coming in, even though I've always trusted in my abundance. It's I feel like, on the one hand, I have to allow and let go and trust, but on the other hand, it's very, like, well, how do I pay for things? And,
absolutely. I mean, the thing that I'm kind of getting, the thing I'm getting around the work side of it is that there's going to be this major leap forward. Okay, for you. So, and I keep on getting like this, it's either a change of direction or a change of approach. is coming in around
you. Say that. It's just because just yesterday I sort of set up this group on Facebook, and it's just really around. I mean, I set it up as a little bit really because it's a way of me processing grief, and I just felt like there's so many other people who, you know, were probably just like me, you know, not necessarily having experienced death before and needing a sort of place to land or connect with people. And although it's, you know, it's a small group and it's a little offering, it just feels like it's moving me in a whole new direction. But it feels really, you know, part of my heart. But I guess the question I have is that in my life, I feel like I've reinvented myself so many millions of times. And often I get excited by something, put energy into things, and then they just don't flow. And I don't know, it's kind of frustrating. I just like, you know, I'm not even sure what the question is, but something like where there's something I put energy into going to actually materialize into something like of contribution and impact and significance, and, you know, that feels really aligned to my core.
Okay, so what I'm being shown here with this is it's like this is yet to come. Okay, so it feels like the steps that you've taken so far are inroads. Okay, so this point that I felt that you were reaching, and when I'm talking about this, I want to give you the month of July. That doesn't mean that things are going to be slow up until that point of time, but I feel like there's a massive leap there. So it does feel as though, and you work very intuitively, I feel, or you when we're looking at how you attract work in, that feels very intuitive. I feel that because there is this space at the moment, or this slow period, I feel like you're kind of you're feeling a little bit jittery and a little bit panicked by that. I mean, this is a very temporary situation, but there is this change. And I do, when you were talking about this group that you created, I feel so positive about it, as though that sense of kind of coming together and helping each other, and you helping others feels really powerful, you know? And I feel that, but it's also healing you. It's also healing you. So, and I feel like you've got to continue with that until there is nothing left to heal, you know, at the end of the day. However, I feel like this is leading you on to your next, it's like your next big, it's like, is it a work change? Let me just have a look. Because it feels like I'm going into something slightly new with you, or new industry or new area, and it feels really exciting, but it feels like it's bigger than what you've had before. Okay, so as you talked about endings earlier, you mentioned a lot of endings in your life over the past year, and the way in which you work also feels like it's an ending. Okay. Which is why I'm seeing it change. It's a case of allow it to kind of settle. I think settle is the right word. And then I feel that you're definitely moving forwards. It's like the way that you'll be working is totally different. I feel like you've got more time, and the quality of everything that you've kind of gone through, all these perspectives that have been changing. That's one of the things that's really been brought home to you, is that, you know, your quality of life now has to be, do you know what I mean? Your life has to count. What you do has to count, and it's not just about work. No. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
and so the other thing is
that
Sorry, say that again.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say the other thing is that I've got this, you know, like I've also been working on this sort of conference idea around how we sort of restore well-being in children, essentially. And it's a little bit like, in my head, it's kind of a year from now. But in a way, some of it's emerged from work I was doing previously. But it's also very new. And yet, although I also feel, it's a very positive, inspiring project, but in order to get it off the ground, it does need resources. And so I come back to the same point, I need money in order to generate, just very practically, in order to sort of, I'm emotionally invested in the work, but, I actually need, to pay for websites and advertising.
Absolutely. And what I'm actually picking up with that particular project, it's not actually what I see you doing. It's as the next big step. It's almost like part of it, if that makes sense. What I was being told as you were talking is that I'm being told it's going to be funded. Okay, so you're going to find people that are going to want to invest in this idea. And also, I could spend hours with you actually talking to you. But also I feel that, so it's going to be funded, but I feel like it's really important that you do this and that you address this, because the young people of today are going, they're really, really struggling. And that what you're talking about,
that's exactly sort of why I want
needed.
to create a space where parents can come together and get inspired by ideas that, are kind of like a sort of healing balm for the ills of the world, because, the world has pretty much gone mad for all intents and purposes in lots of ways. And I think the way we're educating and bringing up children is very counterintuitive, and there's so much kind of increased mental health issues, for example, amongst, young girls, and self-harming and all sorts of things. And I think that there are so many resources and different approaches that people just don't have access or awareness around. So
that is true. Now, I do have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Like I said, I could literally spend hours talking to you, but thank you very much for coming on to the show. My show has now come to an end. So if you do want to get hold of me, once again, the website's www.modern-mystic.co.uk. And I hope you have a lovely week ahead. It is going to be a supermoon next week, so brace yourself for that. You might be riding the waves of that one for a little while. So take care, and I shall see you soon.